Good to come your way again. This is Business Live. My name is Emmanuel Apuaji Wiafe. In tonight's edition, biggest oil and gas waste management company in Ghana, Zeal Environmental Technologies, commences pilot project to produce activated carbons as part of initiatives to reduce cost of operations. Managing Director of Barclays Bank Ghana, Patience Achanu, advises prospective leaders there are no shortcuts to becoming a successful leader. And today on the business agenda, we throw a spotlight on addressing cyber identity fraud. These and several others coming your way on the program Business Live in the next half hour or so. Now we can get interactive by tweeting at Joy Business GH, the Joy handle, the business handle, and of course on Facebook you can log onto our page Joy Business. Then for more business news updates, go to myjoyonline.com/business. We're taking a break. We'll be back with the details.
Business Live today is brought to you by GCB Bank.
Thank you very much for staying and welcome back. Now, in the very first story, the biggest oil and gas waste management company in Ghana, Zeal Environmental Technologies, has started a pilot project to produce activated carbons as part of initiatives to reduce its cost of operations. Activated carbons are chemicals used to control odor in production factories and waste management operations. Chief Executive Officer of Zeal Environmental Technologies, Kweku Eni, says there are now locally producing activated carbons using the coconut husks and palm nut shells to minimize their cost of importing the products.
Environmental Technologies receive waste from the oil and gas exploration, drilling and production campaigns offshore. Since 2008, Zeal has been managing the waste from the Jubilee fields. In order to save marine life and protect the environment, Zeal has improved its integrated oil fields generated waste management system by making it a center of excellence.
We doing this for the mining companies and then for the oil industry, not only for Ghana, but for Liberia, Sierra Leone. We manage paint cans, filters, we manage oil-based mud, we manage medical waste. So some of the hospitals, if they are challenged, they bring their waste here for us to incinerate.
It's an oily wastewater facility. We manage oil fields generated waste, a lot of hydrocarbons, and these have a lot of metals and chemicals in them.
So to understand the operations of the waste management company a little more, some members of the Citizens Advisory Council of the Western Regional Coastal Foundation visited the plant in order for them to provide feedback to communities on oil and gas waste management.
We need, as a country, to be monitoring organizations like this, because the organization is dealing with waste, and it's waste from petrochemicals, and waste of that nature is something that we should not joke with it.
You know, the council usually will receive concerns raised by residents across the coastal districts, and they come together to discuss and make recommendations with respect to actions that the stakeholders, whether it's industry, government, or even WRCF itself, can take to mitigate some of the effects of the oil and gas industry on communities.
Because of the water shortage that we have in our homes, we found very innovative ways of keeping water. Example is the fact that we use some of these drums to keep water. But do you know that these drums contain very hazardous chemicals, most of them used in the oil industry and the mines? Before they got into your house, whoever sold it to you must have removed the tag that warns you that they are hazardous, chemicals that could kill you in a few days. and you wash it and put water in it, you may not have the skin irritations or the dangers in it manifest in a few minutes or days, but the results are very deadly.
What we do here is to make sure that if we send it back out there, you can only use it for a recycling product. Like when it comes here, we have to cut them so that when we send it to the recycler will not give it back to people for them to use to distill apetition, to produce cooking oil, the coconut oil. I've seen some that they use these drums. So the plastics, as I said, we cut them and then we send them to the recyclers. The metal, we punch, rinse through them, and then we crush them.
To control the odor produced when processing the waste, Zeal used a lot of activated carbons. According to management, the importation of the activated carbons is very expensive.
Luckily, we are located in the western region where we have a lot of coconut around here. You have a lot of oil palm plantation. So the source of this activated carbon, basically the raw material, could be coconut shells, okay, and also the palm nuts, okay. So we're trying to support this group so that they could go into activated carbon production.
Without Zeal, oil companies would have no option than to transport their waste out of Ghana for management. This would have swelled the cost of oil production in Ghana, with its resultant loss of profit and employment benefits for locals. Kwaku Owusu-Pepra, Joy News, Takrade.
Now moving on, Minister of State for Private Sector Development Rashid Pelpu has revealed to Joy Business the Export and Import Bank has begun operations, although on a low key. The Exim Bank is primarily will provide low-cost financing to export companies and also support the importation of raw materials for local manufacturing ones. Parliament passed the Exim Bank bill in March, and Mr. Pelpu says the law has now been operationalized for the desired economic results.
The Exim Bank guarantee, the Exim Bank is already on. The law is in existence now, and the bank is operating at a lower levels now. We hope that it's in existence now, hoping that it will be taken advantage of by the private sector operators, so they can start working with them. Well, the idea is to ensure that we relax the rules. If you go to the traditional banks, you have a challenge of getting money because they insist on collateral, and they insist on various other landmark initiatives you have to have in place. Now, what we want to do is to relax these rules, is to allow also for money to be given to you with low interest, so that starters and big businesses that want to expand can easily access the money from the Exim Bank and be able to expand. In fact, it's a commitment to the private sector to make sure that we create enough opportunities for our young people to be able to take advantage of what is available here.
Now, still staying in banks, the managing director of Barclays Bank Ghana, Patience Achianu, believes there are no shortcuts to becoming a successful leader. The first female boss of Barclays Ghana says people should not be in a hurry and make the wrong move because they just want to get ahead. Patience Achianu told Joy FM's head of talk in Ado, becoming successful should not be achieved at the expense of relationships, as it takes time and the realization that you cannot do it alone.
You've described your time with Barclays Bank as rewarding. Surely the rewards would sometimes come off the back of failures. Where would you say would have been maybe the lowest point, and how did you pick yourself up?
Yeah, as a finance person really, and accounting is very technical, so I became finance director. A lot of my success was around demonstrating my technical capability, how competent I was, and so for a long time I downplayed relationships, etc. And I got things done. And I found other people, now thinking about it in retrospect, it's like people used me. So like, they know I get things done, you go get it done. Whether you step on this or jump, whatever hurdles, you have it done. And in the process, some relationships, were hurt. And realizing, thank God I came to my senses, I realized, later on that a very important part of moving to the next level is relationships, how people actually need to like you. And that was one thing I hadn't focused on. I was so focused on just delivering excellent, work. I was task-oriented, but then I learned. So I stepped back and realized that yes, some of my relationships were not where they should be, even in the work environment around me, And so I deliberately, took pains to work on those relationships. And going forward, interpersonal skills became a key part of the skills that I demonstrated in my working relationships.
So you started working on the soft side of
the soft side.
How did you set about doing that? Because obviously that would have been a departure from what was the norm for you.
Yes. I had feedback played a big role in this, and for me, I feel feedback is a gift. Nobody has to tell you anything. That's what I believe. So if somebody sits you down and tells you a few things, I see it like God speaking to you, to be very honest with you. And that happened to me. A senior person I really admired called me one day and said, no doubt about it, you're very good at your job and all that, but you need to watch this and that and that and that. Because at the next level, people like to work with the type of people they like. They want to get along with them. So you need to work on certain things. And don't worry, I'll be your coach. I will prompt you when you are going astray, and when you are doing well, I'll let you know. So there was a deliberate effort to work on those things that were causing me trouble then. And I think it worked really, because the first thing is to realize you have a problem, and it's halfway through really once you realize you have a problem, and the other half it's easy.
All right, so you can catch a full version of that interview with Patience this Saturday on the Joy News channel at 5:30 p.m. with a repeat on Sunday at 6:30 p.m. Now moving on, SME's focused show Joy Business Van has picked up an award for Best SME Reportage at this year's edition of the SME Ghana Awards. The awards, organized by advertising firm Imaginate in partnership with Ministry of Trade and Industry, is geared towards recognizing entrepreneurial excellence. In an address, Deputy Minister of Trade Murtala Mohammed assured local manufacturers to expect the precarious power situation in the country to stabilize in the next 5 to 10 years.
Over 20 small and medium-scale enterprises in various sectors of the economy were recognized for excellence in their fields of operation. The awards, organized by advertising company Imaginate in partnership with the Ministry of Trade and Industry, is aimed at motivating and challenging SMEs to scale up and improve upon the quality of their products. Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry Murtala Mohammed, who delivered the keynote address, assured small businesses government is doing everything to ensure consistent power supply for their activities.
From where I sit at the Ministry of Trade, it would be hypocritical for me not to admit that DUMSO had a tremendous impact negatively on industries. There is no question at all about that. And players within the industry came to us and told us how they were hugely affected. How DUMSO affected their cost, because once you needed to be buying fuel to propel your machines or your generators, you needed to be incurring more cost. It is also true that the relative stability that we have experienced, and those players in the industries have been magnanimous and truthful to say that yes, as a result of the relative stability that we have, there is some stability, and we think that we are reducing the cost incurred in producing the kind of things we are producing. What we need to do is to ensure that we sustain it. And I want to use this opportunity to say that I am very optimistic that contrary to the knee-jerk response that successive governments have had on the issue of energy, this government is committed in ensuring that we have and find a lasting solution to it.
The overall award of Best Performing SME went to HR consulting firm Learning Organization, Comma Foods Processing Limited won the Product Innovation Award. Agro Africa Limited picked up the award for technology adoption, and Virgin Fields Limited chalked the Rising Star Award. Joy Business's SME Focus show, the Joy Business Van, received recognition for Best SME Reportage. Project lead for Imaginate Advertising Company, organizers of the award, Kwesi Ofori Jr., commended the program for promoting SMEs in the country.
That the jury and the organizing committee sit to see what you're doing to effect change in the society, to help our SMEs grow. This is not the first time Joy Business One is winning. They won in the very first edition, and they're winning the third edition. It means that they've added value to what they were doing, and that is what the award seeks for. The award challenges you as an award winner to help you step further and say, okay, I want to do something more, because we don't leave you through the process. If you could contact the producers of the Joy Business, they will tell you that we keep calling them, we ask them what new, and we believe that what you have is quite unique. Profiling businesses and bringing them to the limelight is a good thing, and it must always be done well, and we congratulate you for winning the award.
This year's SME Ghana Awards was under the theme Sustaining Ghana's SMEs in a globally competitive market through local support for made in Ghana products.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Joy Business Van.
Once again, congratulations to the Joy Business Fund team. We now catch up with some international business updates.
Is here again. You're welcome to the Business Agenda on Business Live. Today's agenda throws the spotlight on the communication sector, where digital economy expert is advocating the establishment of a legal framework to address cyber identity fraud. Professor of Digital Economy Jason Roy of the University of Northumbria in the United Kingdom, Newcastle, is making a call for government to pass laws that would classically address this phenomenon, the growing phenomenon of cyber identity fraud. According to him, it is crucial to protect persons who input data onto websites or onto the internet. The United Kingdom last year alone recorded a 57% increase in cyber identity fraud. And Professor Jason is of a view that the time is right for Ghana to take steps to address this.
One of the issues is about people just volunteering information without thinking about it. So, and I used to ask my students, have you ever read the privacy settings on Facebook? None of them have read it. They just sign in, yeah, whatever. It's making people aware that information they put on a website is public and it's going to be used. Also about thinking about how websites run their business in terms of reassuring them that it's trustworthy and secure. So it's a difficult challenge, but there are lots of stakeholders in this pie. We have to come together and talk. So it's education, it's making sure that companies invest in security themselves, but also it's getting the legal framework set up. So if something goes wrong, it's easy to correct the mistake. And one of the challenges in the UK is getting that legal framework set up. You know, if your identity is stolen, it's hard to get it back.
You heard Jason Roy. He's a professor of digital economy with the University of Northumbria in the United Kingdom, Newcastle to be precise. I'm sure you're wondering what government's response would be to this. Well, the head of the Computer Emergency Response Unit, Eric Akumia, believes the significance of such a framework is very crucial to protect persons who will be entering their personal data onto the internet. But according to him, such a framework already exists in Ghana, just that it's not that in force. He believes enforcing such a framework would go a very long way to protect persons who input data onto the internet.
We have the Electronic Transaction Act, which is currently the act that is used to combat cyber fraud. Unfortunately, we have challenges. One, the act is not up to date because it was done in 2008. And if you look at the trends that are coming now, most of these things do not really address those challenges. So we need the Act upgraded so that it can be more effectively to combat these things. The other is also capacity of law enforcement and even the judges. The digital crimes are difficult to prosecute because a lot of these categories of people do not have the requisite understanding and knowledge to do these things.
Eric.
Now, so for our interview of the day segment, financial analyst and CEO of Trust Consults, Charles Mensah, says local businesses partnering with their foreign counterparts is paramount to the sustenance of foreign direct investments. Ghana has seen an increase in the volumes of foreign direct investments since it started producing oil in 2011. Mr. Mensah tells Joy Business to ensure such investments are sustained, government must develop policies and provide incentives to encourage partnerships between local and foreign businesses.
For the foreign investors, in a very subtle manner, if they can be asked to partner indigenous, to partner Ghanaians, then the sustainability will be there. Because once you partner somebody, even if you want to take a decision to exit, the business can stay because there's a local partner. If you don't partner people, what then happens is that if an issue arises in the home country of the investor or the shareholder or the shareholders of that particular foreign investor, and they take a decision abroad, a corporate office, it can affect them and they can take a decision, we are closing down from Ghana or we are closing down from Africa. Once that decision is taken, it has nothing to do with the economic growth of the country that they operate. It's just a strategy that they've adapted, which they do almost every now and then. But then if originally, at the time of entry, they partnered a local Ghanaian or local Ghanaians, even if they exist, the business can stay. And that is where we should increase policies to encourage partnership, and that any foreign investor who partners a Ghanaian, we can have a variation of tax, corporate tax. We can
And that's it for this evening's edition of Business Live. Thank you very much for joining me. My name is Emmanuel Apwaji Biafi. Good evening.